Welcome back. Joining us is Kathi Holmes. A couple of years ago, Kathi suffered a collapse and an injury in her home that resulted in paralysis. And that's not all. She was told that she would never walk again. Welcome, Kathi. Maybe today you can tell us a little bit about that story and what set of circumstances led up to this kind of terrifying prognosis.
Thank you, Nadia. In 2008, my husband Charlie and I were both facing life-threatening medical challenges. That year, Charlie was in and out of the hospital, resulting in quadruple bypass surgery and a below-the-knee amputation due to a diabetic infection. That same year, I had a reoccurrence of an autoimmune disease called microscopic polyangiitis, and I hadn't heard of it either before I got it. The disease is a rare vasculitis where the immune system becomes overactive and attacks the healthy organs, especially the lungs and the kidneys. The only way to stop this from destroying your organs is with heavy doses of prednisone and chemotherapy. The disease was in remission for 5 years. However, this time, the treatment didn't seem to be as effective. I was getting weaker instead of stronger. 2 months prior to my collapse, I was hospitalized 3 times with fractured vertebrae. Then, on November 1st, 2008, I collapsed in my bedroom doorway. I was rushed to the hospital and told I had a damaged spine. I found out this was due to fat deposits that had lodged in my spine from the heavy doses of prednisone, and my spine was already weakened by osteoporosis. Given my health history, it was too risky to operate. So I was told I'd be paralyzed for the rest of my life.
That had to be a devastating, would you call that a diagnosis or prognosis? But that had to be absolutely terrifying, devastating.
Mm-hmm. I felt vulnerable, confused. All I could think of was I'm like a turtle rolled over on its shell. My entire body was weak. My mind was scrambled. I was foggy from pain medication, numbed by disbelief. I barely knew my name, and the pain, the paralysis, and the confusion left me really exhausted. My body was cold, my mind numb, and I was disconnected from my feelings. I had bouts of deep despair when I thought of all the things that I wouldn't be able to do. Would I be a burden to my husband, to my children? Although I knew I was not in control of my body, is that I always thought of myself as a strong woman and that I came from a family of strong women. And I realized, even though I couldn't do things physically from the waist down, is I still had my upper body. I had my eyes, my ears, and my brain, and I was not going to be confined to bed for the rest of my life. I needed to seek solutions, and I was going to do the best I could to be mobile. Acceptance was my first step in my recovery. Determination followed.
And your husband was ill at the same time, so
Right.
he couldn't give you much help. I assume you had some family members, but you leave the hospital, you go home. What was it like when you first got home and not be able to walk, not be able to do things for yourself without much help from your husband?
Well, first I went to the hospital here, then I went to the Mayo Clinic, and then I was transferred to a care center, and I was there for 5 months. During that time, my husband was in and out of the hospital as well. So we talked to each other on the phone, and we would compare who had the best lunch. Then my daughter was a flight attendant, so I never knew when she was flying or if she was in and out of the country or not. And my son had just moved to Duluth. So even though they were there for me by phone and to help me make decisions, they weren't physically there for me. My husband got to become a little worried, and so he hired a care manager to come and visit me, and that really helped. I hadn't had a bath for 2 weeks, and all of a sudden I got a bath, and things were taken care of, so that was very good. But I did most of my therapy at the care center at first.
Oh my gosh.
How long from being told that you were never going to walk again to you saying, not only am I going to walk again, I'm going to show everybody that I can, and I will?
But I never did that. Because I believed the doctors. I believed I was never going to walk again. So all I was going to do was do the best I could. So I kept working at it, and I was surprised myself. It wasn't like I said, I'm determined to walk. It was like, oh, I kept getting better. And gradually.
So it was a gradual realization that, whoa, maybe more is possible here than I've been told.
Now, it wasn't like a bolt of lightning hit me and all of a sudden I could walk. It took a lot of hard work. I was 4 months in the care facility, and it was exhausting just to stand holding the parallel bars for a minute and a half. And progress was measured in seconds. But I wasn't discouraged, because anytime I could do anything more than I could do, that was an improvement, and that was...
Oh, so you didn't actually share the fact that doctors had told you you weren't going to walk with anyone then? Is that
No,
am I
everybody
understanding you
knew
correct?
that.
Oh, okay.
We all knew that, and I believed it.
Apparently not. I saw you walk through that door. You don't believe it now, do you?
I don't believe it now, and I have this thing about doctors anyway. But
Oh, that's a whole new book, right?
it's a whole new
Speaking
book.
of books, you put your experiences into print, didn't you?
I did. The reason is because people had said, "Oh, it's a miracle. Oh, it's just wonderful what happened to you. We can't believe it," because other people believed as I did. And I thought, if I put it in print and people read it, it would be inspiring to other people. It's not that everybody's going to get better, and not everybody's going to walk like I did, but you need to do the best you can with what you have.
That's really what you were
That's
doing,
right.
wasn't it? Doing the
Right.
best you could with what you had, and it just came out better than you expected in the beginning.
Right. Well, I was in the rehab center for 5 months, and I couldn't roll over in bed by myself. I couldn't get out of bed. I needed a Hoyer lift to get me out of bed. But I was anxious to go home. And we converted our extra bedroom into complete with a hospital bed and a Hoyer lift, and then I had my power chair to wheel around. At first I scrambled the rugs. We had to get rid of all those, and bumped into chairs and dented tables, and took the molding off my bedroom drawer twice.
Oh, sure.
And furniture needed to be moved so that I could be more mobile. So we really need to do a reconstruction. And then we decided to remodel our master bathroom to make it handicapped accessible.
Good. Wow. And you think about how wonderful things have happened to you, and to think you're sharing all these great things with all of us. That's just fantastic.
It's a pleasure. And what I love to do is I love to hear that if I can, that my book will be helpful to somebody else, or that I can say something. You know, sometimes we say something to people and we don't realize that we've impacted them. And I just hope that I can impact somebody into working as hard as I did.
That's wonderful. Oh, my gosh.
I've been working on my husband, who's pretty much confined to his wheelchair, although he does do some walking now. And I'm afraid he's a hard nut to crack.
I got one of those, too.
What are some of the things you do to help keep him going?
Well, I finally got to the point where he had fallen a couple times, and so he is really fearful of walking. And so he kind of backed off a lot, and he was doing really well, and he's kind of, then he slipped when he broke his femur again. So I said, you've got to walk, you've got to walk. And for a while, he was going to the pool with me at Courage Center. And it just didn't register. For some reason, it just didn't register. One day, he gave me an excuse, and it wasn't a feeble excuse like a lot of times he'd given me. And I said, all right, I'm done. This is it. Do what you want to do. Stay in that wheelchair forever. I don't care. I'm not going to be involved anymore. No more. And you know what? The next week he started walking. He's been walking every day since. I guess I just needed to give up.
Do you know, I walk every day with my husband, and he's a full-blooded German. And he said, I'm not going to do that. Well, we go every single day. His weight has come down. He's doing things that he never thought he could do, and he has no swelling in the ankles. And it's just wonderful. And I'm a walker, so I just enjoy it just as much.
And how old did you say he was?
92.
I thought you
Oh.
said that
Yeah.
before the show
Yeah,
began, yeah.
92.
How
92,
great.
That's
And
wonderful.
not only that, he doesn't have a wrinkle. Not one. And I want to find out what it is, and I want to manufacture
It's
it.
in the genes.
Oh. He doesn't look his age at all. And they said, oh, he's not that old. I said, yes, he is. We're married 63 years.
Oh, terrific.
How about you?
Well, we've been married 22 years. This is my second marriage. So.
Is he doing well?
He's doing well.
Good.
And you've
I'm
been
so
through a
glad.
lot together.
We have.
Yeah.
We have. Well, I was, after I left the care center, I had home physical therapy for about 3 months. And what my goal was then was to be able to transfer from my chair to the toilet. And I wasn't quite there when my home therapy options ran out. And then I decided that I wanted to go to Courage Center to do pool therapy. I had been in water aerobics for about 15 years off and on, and I love the water. So I thought if nothing else, I'd enjoy it. And so I started taking water pool therapy. I started by just standing and sitting, and my legs drifted away. I didn't know where they were. And gradually I got a little bit more strength and a little bit more control. I started walking with poles across the pool, and I came home and told my husband I was learning to pole dance.
Oh,
And the land therapy, that was exhausting. I always liked the pool therapy because I didn't sweat. But land therapy, I had to keep going because I was making some progress. And I didn't mind walking in the giant device that looked like a baby walker because it meant I was upright.
Yeah.
And I was moving. And so even though I disliked exercise, I couldn't stop. And I began to make strides forward. That's when the first strides really started coming.
Yeah.
And I'd say, I don't think I can do it, but I'll try. And I did, and it worked.
So what else is it you thought that you couldn't do and you're doing?
Um,
I'm sure there are lots of things that you've kind of put to the back of your mind.
Well, my daughter moved into a house with stairs and a sunken living room, okay? I had to practice stairs. Didn't think I could do that. And so we worked on stairs. And, but first we had to work on just standing and sitting and just the simple things. One of the things that motivated me was that during my paralysis, my daughter became engaged. Now, she was 37, and I didn't think she'd ever get married. And so I was just overjoyed. Charlie and I took the Metro Mobility bus in our wheelchairs and went to her wedding at the country club. And I even had a friend sit on my lap and dance with me so I could dance at her wedding. Now, the only thing that was even more thrilling was finding out I was going to be a first-time grandmother.
Yeah.
My granddaughter Olivia was what motivated me. She is the one who got me to saying, I have to stand, I have to do this, I could hold her in my arms and wheel her around in my power chair, but I needed to be able to stand long enough to change her diaper. If she got on the floor, I needed to be able to pick her up. And so Olivia and I learned to walk together at the same time.
That had to be fantastic, and we've run out of time, but Kathi, I would say that would be one of the greatest motivators in the world.
It was.
Is for a grandchild and a daughter's wedding. Kathi, thanks so much for being here today. It's really been inspiring. And Diane and Stephen, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.